basically, we're just up here in Banff enjoying the beautiful view. And in the big media conference, how many journalists would you say are here? I heard about 1,400 journalists are here. Only a small handful of them have this pooled media access, which means they can take the shuttle, they can go down to Kananaskis and actually put questions toward the leaders.
Whole day, you're sitting in the office, in the big press room, and you ask every 15 minutes when they pass, did you find out if we can go or not? And they tell you, watch the TV. I say, but I'm a photographer. What do you want me to do, like photographing television?
Sydney Fizzard for Rebel News here in Banff, Alberta for the Kananaskis G7 Summit. Now, we are here at the Media Centre in Banff, and I spoke to some of the other journalists here because, as you know, Rebel News was forced to wait to the last minute to take the federal government to court just simply to get accredited for this event to be here at the summit. But we found out, of course, as you might already know, there's an extra badge that you need to get from Banff to Kananaskis for the media in order to actually attend the Kananaskis G7 Summit. So that means that all of the media have been cooped up here in Banff, an hour away from Kananaskis and the world leaders, and an hour and a half away from Calgary, where there are protesters taking place across the city. There are 3 designated protest sites. There's action happening. That's where world leaders are coming in. But for a lot of the media here that spent thousands of dollars, quite literally, international media outlets that are on the smaller end, they have to buy hotels, they have to buy cars, they have to buy all sorts of things, food, I mean, simply to do the reporting here, much like we are here with our independent news. And for a lot of these outlets, they're expressing a lot of frustration, considering they weren't informed that they were going to need an extra badge with a special prime minister or delegation approval in order to attend the summit. So we spoke to some of those individuals and our local Western Standard reporter, Jen Hodgson.
We good to go? All right, thank you. Mr. President, welcome to Canada.
I'm from the prairies. I'm from Saskatchewan. So I came out to this because this is a key event for Ukraine, a key event for getting things from the Ukrainian allies for the country to perhaps get that unconditional 30-day ceasefire, to get additional aids for the military, for the reconstruction of Ukraine. So a lot of announcements come out. The last G7, 2 years ago, there was an announcement at the G7 that the allies would train Ukrainian pilots on the F-16 fighter jets. Last year there was hundreds of billions of dollars that were announced at aid. So there's always big announcements about Ukraine at these events. So because I'm from the area, I wanted to come out here to this one in particular.
Well, we've been watching the leaders' arrivals, and they throw us a bone and live stream the press conference after the meeting. So basically, we're just up here in Banff enjoying the beautiful view. And in the big media conference, how many journalists would you say are here? I heard about 1,400 journalists are here. Only a small handful of them have this pooled media access, which means they can take the shuttle, they can go down to Kananaskis and actually put questions toward the leaders. Now, we've made attempts through the PMO's office. We've also actually tried other leaders' offices just to see. Now we understand that access to this pooled media is granted only from the PMO, and we've yet to have any confirmation about that. So we're in the media room, just like, the majority of journalists here. And, I also noticed that they don't fully live stream everything too. You kind of got to go looking for the streams elsewhere. So it has been challenging in that sense. Another thing that I would mention too, Sid, is that they kind of open the door for a moment and make it seem like there's going to be an open media for all journalists to attend. And then, like, this happened yesterday morning. 10 minutes later, they send out a second follow-up email saying, oh, actually it's closed to media. And same with an event later today. It says on the itinerary, the last event of the summit is open to all media. I went down and checked with information yesterday, and as it turns out, it's just open to the media pool. And they said, well, you can look forward to the live stream in the media conference room. They're going to make sure they have that all up to date for us. So they do throw us something, but it's really not an open, democratic way for journalists to go and cover.
As an independent journalist, you are here obviously at the Kananaskis G7 Summit. We're not actually in Kananaskis because the media aren't even allowed there unless they get their special badge. Have you applied for accreditation? Did you try and get any access?
I did apply. I had to send them, I had to get all the outlets I've published with to go through my papers, to write stupid letters, to say I am who I say I am and that I should be there in order to cover these events. I even inquired, a week and a half into applying, hey, what's going on here? And they said, oh, we'll get back to you. And then just nothing. Yeah. So I have not been able to gain access, but obviously I'm here. I'm questioning all views, whether I agree with them or not. And obviously, being a foreign policy wonk, I would say on the far left, I have more in common with Rebel News right now than I do in the domestic situation here.
I mean, it's not Prime Minister Carney who will be doing that. He's coming from the corporate world. I'm sure he's very organized and he knows what he's doing. But it's the people around who run the department, the communication. Can you imagine you call them, there is no answer. You write a mail, there's no answer. Of course, they're busy, but you prepare something like this in advance.
Exactly.
So it's looking very childish. Mm-hmm. You have impression those people do something like this first time.
This is where a lot of the media have set themselves up so that they can do, streeters stuff in front of the camera like I'm doing right now. There's also inside the media room where there's people with their laptops open, they're writing, down whatever stories they can come up with. But many of the people behind us don't have that badge. So they're left kind of wandering the field, just making up the time however they can because they don't have that access to the actual G7 summit. There's expected to be 1,400 media members attending this summit. And I just want to say thank you to our viewers from letusreport.com. We had to fight the federal government legally just to get here, just to be in this room, to get our accreditations for this event. So it's thanks to your generous support that we were able to get here. As for most of the people behind us, a lot of these news organizations are taking government funding. That means that oftentimes they are going to have to express a narrative either that is supportive of the federal government or hide certain things because the federal government is trying to play defense for something, but not at Rebel News. That's why we're here, to bring you the other side of the story, to bring you the story that the people deserve to hear. And you can check out our latest reports at g7reports.com. Those with these special badges, either from the Prime Minister's office or international delegations that have attended here, they go through screening here for the media pool that's actually allowed access to the Kananaskis Summit. Everyone else in these open media rooms here, most of them do not have that special badge, which means that they are subject to watching the Kananaskis Summit meeting from the television screens that are set up in the general media workspace rooms.
There is the media bus for the media pool, those who get special passes from either the Prime Minister's office or the specific delegations that are in attendance. As you can see, they've loaded up. They're about to take off now, but this whole area is just completely fenced off. It's kind of like an airport security type measure they have to go through upstairs, as you saw.
So no, you're not on their list. It's a no.
Hey, can I ask you about the PMO's list?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've tried to contact them, but we haven't heard back. Is there any way that we can get a media blog
It's
list?
the same channel that usual. I have the list and you're not on the list.
Yeah, no, I know. I was just asking a question.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no.
How does this compare your experience here to other events? You were telling me that you're at a lot of these major international events. How do they compare?
I've been at a few of them. And so last year I was at the Global Peace Summit, which was organized by Ukraine, President Zelensky's office. And that was in Switzerland. And so there was a lot more Ukrainian press there. There's about 25 Ukrainian press there. Here we have about 5 or 6 outlets, half of them from North America. And so last year, there was it was easier to access the leaders of the country. So there's a lot of leaders there, something like 30 or 40 international leaders, representatives from close to 100 countries. President Zelensky himself had a meeting with all of the Ukrainian press, 25 outlets. We were able to get access to the Canadian Prime Minister at the time. It was a little bit easier, certainly in Switzerland last year. I've also done events with the European Council, with NATO. I've been able to get into press conferences with the American presidents before. So here, all of the leaders are out in Kananaskis. So any of the press that don't have the over badges, don't have the additional access to get out to Kananaskis, are here and don't actually have access to the leaders. So that's a little bit of a different thing. But certainly there's no opportunity here to actually question the leaders unless you're in Kananaskis, and I find that's a little bit frustrating.
Was this something that was surprising to you, like you found out last minute, or were you already kind of in the mindset of this is going to happen, we got to figure out how we're going to play this?
These are major events, and so, my company is a rather small company, and so in that regard, it's not really a surprise. Considering the amount of Ukrainian press here, I did think that we might have access to the Ukrainian press conferences, and it's a little bit, I would have liked to have had access to those to a greater degree. But for the major outlets, if you speak with somebody from a larger outlet who hasn't been able to access Kananaskis, I'm sure you can find some people that are rather frustrated.
We come here spending huge money to cover the stuff, and you have impression those people do organize the event like this first time or every 20 years. They're forgetting constantly what is taking. You completely ignoring the media coming from 1,000 kilometers away. Like there could be notifications saying, okay, there's no access, or we do one access for the international media, but nothing, giving nothing. Whole day, you're sitting in the office, in the big press room, and you ask every 15 minutes when they pass, did you find out if we can go or not? And they tell you, watch the TV. I say, but I'm a photographer. What do you want me to do? Like photographing television?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just frustrating, and people at the side, the managers have no power to do anything. Prime Minister office is running the show, and I know there's a quota per participating country, but if you're from China or I don't know, from Spain or from Turkey, like my agency, what are we supposed to do? Why you do the accreditation and don't allow people to work?
Let me know in the comments what you think. Why would they set this event up in such a ways to have the world leaders an hour away from the media, who is an hour away from both the world leaders and the protesters? Let us know in the comments. For Rebel News, I'm Sydney Fizzard. G7reports.com is where you have to go if you want to see all of our reporting from this Kananaskis G7 summit. We were in Kananaskis before the event started. We were obviously here in Banff, and we are in Calgary as well, getting stories from all three locations, despite the fact that they tried to set this up to prevent such overlay. Because like I said, those journalists who are spending a large amount of money to be here, they have to make their time worth it. And if they're not able to do that, then this is a failed journey for them. And that is seemingly what the Prime Minister's office, Mark Carney, and the G7 summit here have decided is going to be the case. They've really done dirty a lot of these media outlets who can't afford to travel between Banff and Calgary to get these protests or even to get into Kananaskis with their special badges. So stay tuned for all of our reports and more at G7reports.com.